on a bad note, yes? And I've been singing your praises all along. Okay. Now, in terms of today's program, colleagues, my gadget is freezing. Well, in terms of today's program, we will have the following presentations, colleagues. So I'll just go through today's program. We will have a brief recap of yesterday. We will have a presentation that will be done by Ms. Nozipho Khumalo from Lecturer Development. We will have a presentation that will be done by NBI. I have not seen the colleagues from MQA, but if they're here, we'll have a presentation that will be done by MQA. We'll have a presentation that will be done by Higher Health. We'll have a presentation that will be done by Mr. Gaza from its director responsible for governance, steward governance. We'll have a responsibility that a presentation that will be done by the COO of WNR CETA. We'll have two presentations that will be done by industry partners. One will be done by Jumbo Cash and Care, and the other one will be done by K Boning. We'll have a presentation that will be done by Southwest Gauteng College. Then we'll have commissions as the last program for the day. Because we started late, colleagues, we will not be blamed if we leave here around 6 o'clock or so, because we started late. Now, let me also take the opportunity, colleagues, to greet the colleagues that are here who were not with us yesterday. Ms. Khumalo, please, and Mr. Gaza, please send your presentations there. Let me appreciate your presence. Unfortunately, it came on a day where someone decided to step on my toes. And yesterday I was a very nice program director. I'm sorry that you live with this memory of me being angry. So let me take the opportunity to welcome you here. We hope that these young leaders will gain a lot from your presentations. They will be able to enrich the conversations that we are going to have here. Now, I will start from the naughty corner. I'll refer to both corners as the naughty corner. Now, so let me get it. From there, who's there? It's PE College, Southwest Gauteng, Sekhukhune, and what? And who else is there? Urban, and who else? EMC, one half of EMC. Yeah. And who else? Taletso. EMC, please, who's going to assist me now? Brian, please go and take a mic there. EMC, please give us your reflections on the presentation that was done. On the presentation that was done by Mr. Vele yesterday. Mhlekazi, even if it's an NEC member or PC member, xa be late, send them there. Bangangeni bama apha emnyango bacimane babone. EMC. Brian, give it to any of the EMC people there. He off or TK, but he off. No. I'm taking an EMC efike early, ndifuna abafike late. Is it fine? Brian, give it to those 2 people from EMC. President, Baba. It. Ufike late naye. President, amohlala pha. Aniyenzi lento nithe yenzeni Mhlekazi. Abantu abafike late naye nodloba abo abantu bahlala phansi.
Good morning. My reflection for
status. Just
want to change this.
Mr. Dade President, including yourself, please go inside.
It's not gonna work. It's cropping the sense.
We'll wait for President to go inside.
Lock. It's manual. Observe.
10 yellow.
Huh?
10 yellow. Why lighting?
No, look at this. It's not gonna work this
Yes.
sense.
good
It's not
morning,
gonna work
everyone.
this sense.
My name is Bubele Zanzebe, Assistant President. My reflection on Mr. Vele's presentation, he spoke of the transitional of intent moving to the occupational. He also reflected on the policies, the section 29.1b. That's how the college, in fact, colleges of the head was created upon in terms of CET Act, in terms of the head policies. So that's what I managed to notice at 25. That I replaced meaning starting from this year. Move forward, 25 new occupational programs.
TK, it seems to be breaking. It's his voice.
It's his voice. Just talk to the mic. Talk to. No, you're not kissing. Talk. You know.
Sorry for that. As I was saying, that we managed to get into debt as what it happened. I don't know. So we were told of the 25 new programs that have been rolled over to the colleges. In fact, the colleges are the ones who chooses the programs that they are going to offer. It's not the department, but it's the colleges. That's what I've noted, and due to the PQMs of our different institutions, that is how we then find ourselves having those occupational programs based on the economy, probably the responsiveness of the occupational program that is around the college.
Okay. P College, what becomes the role of student leaders in college PQM?
Good morning to everyone. This is the Deputy President of EP College. Basically, the role. Basically, our role as the actual leadership is, if you were listening yesterday, it was that we should be advocates firstly and foremost. And on that, the role of leaders is that we should equip ourselves with information so that at least we can be agents of the information, because remember, we're the first people at hand when it comes to big students hearing information. So our role is to at least equip ourselves with information, and on that, allowing ourselves to go to these students, at least to inform them in terms of the courses, if I could say so, or whatever programs that are there to equipping these students. So our role is to be the agents of progressiveness as leaders, because remember, the TVET sector is changing, meaning that as us as leaders, we should be at the center of knowing information and that conveying and on that addressing students to give them information and on that equipping them. So thank you.
Okay. Talent, your reflection.
Done it.
On the presentation that was done by QCTU.
All right. Now, all right. Now, what to do? I'm looking for.
I'm going to a double extender.
No.
Greetings everyone. I go by the name of Yatile Mutswakumo from Talento, Tibet College.
He needs to rig the timbal and so that he can move around with the timbal.
Opportunities and challenges about technical vocational education and training in South Africa. Challenges, capacity constraints.
Talk to the mic.
It's the sound. I'm now convinced it's the sound. So are you saying TK, they are scared now, their voices are scared?
Is the mic audible
Yeah, the
to
problem.
everyone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Prati.
Yeah, as I was saying, the challenges that we are having, which are the capacity constraints due to infrastructure and unqualified staff, lack of functional partnership with the industry, limited funding for infrastructure, reliance on traditional lecturing methods and digital literacy gaps. And the opportunities and recommendations that I've noted about building meaning industry-Tibet partnerships, placement of students, lecturers, and industry experts for knowledge sharing. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Skukuni. On the presentation that was done by MICT SETA. Skukuni is there at the back, Brian. There at the back. And that's why they told him.
Good morning, everyone.
Your problems are many. You are late, you also have a PC member. I'm not sure how. What example are you setting?
I arrived early, Chair.
Don't explain.
Wait for her.
Just
My
respond.
apologies. The presentation that was made by MICT SETA, they mentioned that since we are in the fourth industrial revolution, we should actually
Yeah, excuse me.
Please,
match to
colleagues there, you are late, colleagues. Please go to that corner. Oh, yeah, he was here early on, I swear. But the rest of the colleagues that are late, send them and that side. Yeah, my apologies.
the presenter actually said that since we are in the fourth industrial revolution, we should align with the industrial needed skills that are needed by the industry. He also mentioned that there are qualifications that are aligned to ICT, or rather the fourth industrial revolution. He also displayed a model of 4IR. The other thing, he also mentioned that since they introduced this fourth industrial revolution, There have been 20 new cell phone repairs business owners. Yeah, yes. Amanda.
You are not done. You are not done. You are not done. One of the questions you asked was around, should we all be entrepreneurs? What was the response to that question?
Okay, the response was that we cannot all be entrepreneurs, but the aim of these occupational programs is to actually equip us with skills that we would need, if in case we don't get employed, we'll be able to use the skills that we acquired at the occupational program in order to generate income.
Southwest Outing, what are some of the programs, occupational programs that have been approved for colleges? I think that was contained in the presentation of Mr. Vele. I know the president and secretary at some point were in a council meeting, so they might have missed that. I'm not sure if they left before or after. But the rest of the Southwest delegation was here. Let's not waste time, colleagues. Brian, Nan, Southwest, we're there. Nah.
Good morning. My name is SATVETSA. I am the Deputy President for SWGC. Some of the occupational programs that were included in Mr. Vela's presentation was chef, early childhood development, poultry farming, things also in ICT with regards to cloud engineering and yes, also some of the things that I recall. Thank you.
That was crazy news today by Energy Corner. Okay. Colleagues, you are all of you decide you are not scot-free. I'm still going to come to you, but I want us to continue with the program. But I want to emphasize, even to the colleagues that are here now. Colleagues, I'll repeat it. But it's totally unacceptable for you to arrive late. No, Mr. Nduru, some of them are just waltzing in. It's nice. It's past 9, they don't see any problem. It's totally unacceptable, colleagues. Anyway, I'm now going to call on Ms. Khumalo to come and make a presentation. We did have some questions. Ms. Khumalo, I'm used to calling Ms. Khumalo, so I'm struggling to call her. So I'm going, some of the issues that were asked yesterday, now you're going to be me there. You can put your laptop. TK, please borrow us there. Yeah. So some of the questions that were asked around what you are going to present, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to take students. Let's give Ms. Khumalo a good round of applause.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Yes, difficult morning, right? The weather is weathering. And some of you decided to hibernate in summer. But we are here now. Let it go, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. Now you need your ears to pay attention. And thank you for the invite, and thank you for this prestigious event. I love coming to events like this because it's the core business. It's a reminder of why we are here. So thank you, leaders. I hope you have a fruitful conference. So I am Nozipho Khumalo. People are still confused because I used to also be in student development. Then I jumped ship then I went to lecturer development. But I believe it's a calling because I ensure that the student is in the center of all the decisions we make in our directorate. So I'm responsible for lecturer support systems. So it's either in digital pedagogy. I also ensure that your lecturers are also capacitated, especially now as they're transitioning. So I'm still waiting. I'm actually pushing time. It's a talent sometimes, eh? Okay, no problem.
My concern, yeah,
Okay.
is the movement. It's all even down.
Manje Joe. Ngisozi. Awe.
No, this one. Oh, you want me to send it to a stick? It's quite slow.
Oh, nice.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. All right. I believe all the speakers yesterday gave you a background of why we're transitioning, so I'm just going to zoom in on particular branches or our specific branch and what they're doing and our directorate. So you spoke about why we're transitioning, particular courses, and noted that we are not the ones at DHT that actually choose for your institutions. So it means where the students are coming from and the companies that surround them, the institution decides. So when you're in the campus, it means that your college has thought about the end, which means where you're going to be placed, what are the job opportunities, and what are the entrepreneurial spots or opportunities are available to you. In this change, it also affects your lecturers. Your lecturers, some of them, we inherited them. Remember, NATED courses is 65 years old like this year. So it means it's a pensioner if it was a human being. So it means when your grandfather, your parents were alive, it was created. So as you know, not at the history of this country, we inherited Bantu education, and also not all races were treated equally. And that also reflects on the staff we have in our campuses. You know, some are going in pension, which are older, and then we also got younger lecturers, which means those that are older some of the time are still having qualifications of the then government, where there was this educational qualifications that are called secondary teacher. If you look at now, you know about B.Ed, right? B.Ed, immediate, foundation, secondary, and FET phase. And those days, you could leave with just a diploma or even less, a certificate. And some of them were artisans and they came into the FET. And some left education, which means they were teachers and they came to us. And some are coming from industry. So let me just go into the presentation. Can we go to the first slide? So this is the shift. That's the cover page. Okay. So as we said, these qualifications are industry designed. They are competency based and workplace centered. This means that you can pass or fail, but the most important thing, you must be competent. So it means if you're doing electrician, you go in there, you do your FISA, which is inside your college, you do your ASA exams, which is the external. But then you need to do a trade preparation and get a trade-centered qualification, which means you need to be trade-centered. That it means you're a competent electrician. Can you go to the next slide? So the national coordination that we are currently doing now, we're doing an oversight of the transition planning across all colleges, an establishment of national communication channels and guidelines. If you notice, there's a gazette, it was spoken about yesterday, and we've got continuous circulars. So we give circulars to your colleges. We expect them to either narrow it down to memos and also share it with you as students, share it with you as lecturers, and share with the whole student population. And we also do mapping of college readiness. You spoke about infrastructure, but our focus as a directorate, we look at human resource. Accreditation status does affect a lecturer because if a course is not accredited, it means it cannot be offered in the institution. And then also industry partnership. You cannot offer a course if there's no MOUs with the current industry that surrounds you or where you're going to be placed, or eventually you're going to get your opportunity for work. And then we also participate in events locally and internationally. As you know, that curriculums are not stagnant. They shouldn't be just standing there. They must move, they must respond to the current situation. As you know, now we are moving to the 5IR. It means human and machine. It means that when we look at our curriculum, we must see how it's going to affect you when you exit and to face the current work situations. So you can decide to stay in South Africa or go to another country. So the curriculum should be globalized and also localized. Okay, next slide. So the role of my directorate, we do capacity building. So it means the lecturer that is in front of you every day should be capacitated. They should do it by themselves, and then we work through the college. And then the office that is responsible for that lecturer is HR, human resource. There's those that hire them, and then there's the ones that develop them. And then all of these people, they rely on the DPA, because the DPA is the one that knows what is needed in the college, what is the gaps, and then they're the ones who say we need a lecturer that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if that lecturer doesn't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they coordinate and speak to the Human Resource Development Unit. And then that Human Resource Development Unit must assist the lecturer to be capacitated. As I was speaking about the qualifications before, we had the olden day qualifications in Bantu education. We've never had a qualification that looks at a teacher who wants to teach in a TVET college. So in the current years, in the past 5 or 6 years, there's been a qualifications that have been developed with the assistance of the EU. So now there's the B.Ed TVET. There's one institution in the country. As I've noted there, it's only TUT. And then the rest of the institutions, 10, have the advanced DIP TVT. You're asking yourself, what is an advanced DIP? It's another level, which is an NQF level 7 after the diploma. So that's why it's called an advanced DIP. And then after that, a PG DIP is equivalent to an honors. So after your lecturers or yourselves in the future, if you want to be a lecturer, you have to move into PG DIP, and then after that, masters, after that, PhD. So only institutions like University of Western Cape has the PhD, masters, and then it goes to PhD. So for TVET, not senior phase, FET, not PGCE. Those languages are not on our tongues anymore. Those are school teachers. We are no longer in schools, we in the TVET. And there's also another gap that some of your lecturers have. Some don't have industry experience. Some come in with BTECs, they come with masters in technology because they were technicians, not artisans. So now it means they need to have the pedagogy of TVET, which is the education diploma, plus the occupational experience. So now it means that they also need to get these trade tests, some of them need to be refreshed because things have changed, machines have changed, maybe regulations and standards have changed in the country. And some of them are born before computers, right? Some of them, just tell them to do a presentation in a slide, will take them half a day. Yeah? So it means that they must invest also in the digital skilling. And they must also know how to use open learning, the OER resources, how to create their own content using digital skills. Some of them need to code, some need to know creative coding to create cartoons, avatars, things that will make class exciting. Who has a 4IR lab here in their college? In Eastern Cape we have Ikala. You should know where it is. President, do you know where's your lab from Ikala? Ikala? Are they here? Where's your lab? It was launched. Oh. Okay. And then West Coast, where's yours? Atlantis. So leaders, when things or labs or workshops are established, you should know where they are. You should ensure it's used because it costs millions and millions of rands. Funders have donated and they expect you as the students to utilize these resources so they don't become white elephants. So as I'm speaking here, there are CETAs like your W&R, your FACET and all the others, ETDP CETA, have funded these magnificent digital 4IR labs in your campuses. So please use them. And then there's also stakeholder engagements regularly by your own colleges and also DHET, and industry partnerships and MOUs, SLAs are being driven or written. And then also lecturers in facilitation fields and expertise. So some of your lecturers, they're going overseas. Some of your lecturers are going to companies locally or going to companies internationally. So when you go for placement and getting exposed, your lecturers also go. We made sure from our office or myself to ensure that some of your lecturers went to China. Some of them are even doing courses with Germany, with GIZ. There's also female lecturers as we speak that are doing solar PV, photovoltaic with DUT and the German government. So it's only female lecturers in that capacity. So let's go to the next slide. So in January, while you were still at home, we started work. We started work on the 5th of January. We had our first workshop. So we had to train lecturers. We went to Majuba. Who's from Majuba? I think Majuba is one of the colleges that have the most, or not all, accredited for most occupational qualifications in the country. While others were still coming on, Majuba has been leading together with Nordlink and other colleges. So if your college wants to benchmark or the leaders can exchange, please consider those colleges and speak about occupational qualifications. So most of our colleges or our lecturers went there in Majuba in January, as I said, when you were still at home before your registration. Your master trainers were trained by QCTO. So QCTO, as you know, is a quality assurer. NCV, who's the quality assurer? Umalus. For occupational qualifications, QCTO. These qualifications are not QCTO qualifications. It's occupational qualifications. It's just that they're quality assured by QCTO. These are your qualifications to use. It's not QCTO. I think the language that we use now makes like QCTO, we separate them from ourselves. So QCTO trained about the standards of occupation, what is an assessment, what to do when you see curriculum. So I'm not sure if Mr. Vele told you that in these occupations, you mustn't use textbooks. I don't like textbooks. Even when I was a student, you bought a whole thick book and you only used 2 pages. Costs money, and sometimes it's a waste of money. And then it makes you lazy as well. So in this occupation, the only thing your college is responsible for is to ensure that your lecturer knows what they're talking about, and you are in the right class. Because if you're not passionate, you don't like what you're doing, and you don't have the vision in mind, you're in the wrong occupation. Because it's called an occupation because it's called what you're going to do. So if you're going to be an electrician, it's not NCV electrical infrastructure, ne? It's occupational electrician. So when you live here, you become a what? Electrician. If you live, you become a chef. So it means when you live here, when you become a chef, you should love what you're doing. So from there, it means that your college must have the MOU for placement because you have to do the practical component and also the will component. So as a student, your campus must be resourced because I wouldn't like a student to get out of a class, get out of a simulation room and go to a workplace and be confused. You must at least have, let's say 50%. And then industry will add another 50%. So please push your lecturers to prepare you. So when you go out there in the workplace, at least you've got this information. Because supervisors are busy. They also have their own work to do. Now they're giving you for a week or 2 weeks or every Friday. At least you must show initiative. You must show that you're dedicated. So when that supervisor, remember they're not teachers, they're not there to beg you, they are corporate-minded. They are disciplined. So when they say come at 8, they mean come at 8. When they say lunch ends 2 minutes to 12, you must be ending. I went to SAB, they told us to blow. Ne? Blowing because why? Do you understand when I'm saying blow? To see if there's no trace of alcohol. I was a visitor. So if there was a trace of alcohol, they would have said, Mem Kumalo, thank you, no meeting, case cancelled. So when you go to these spaces, remember you represent yourself, you represent your college, you represent DHET, and you represent this qualification. Because some people are still skeptical about this qualification. So remember, we also tell your lecturers because they also do workplace-based exposure. So when you go, they also go. They become students as well at the workplace. So we've got master trainers because we are not experts. Master trainers are lecturers that the country has invested in. So it means the lecturer who has been taken to France, China, Germany, they must come back and pay back. So the payback is to ensure that they mentor the other lecturers. assist us with curriculum development, assist us to create communities. So these communities are the ones that develop the curriculums and the support. So this strengthens a lecturer's confidence, because when a lecturer is not confident, there's conflict in the classroom. Because you have expectations, right? As a student. You got standards. You don't want to waste your time. So when you speak to this lecturer and say you are wasting your time, then they become angry. They become unsettled. So to address these issues, we need to motivate, capacitate, and upskill and reskill your lecturers. So be patient with them. I see SATVETSA is here. SATVETSA has been assisting us with funding. They've assisted us to ensure that 14 TVET colleges have MOUs. And in those MOUs, there's student representation in those MOUs for your internships or your grants. And then also lecturer development, which can come and making sure that they go somewhere in the companies, or they get these diplomas, because some of them do not have the pedagogy experience. The next presentation slide. So here, as I'm saying, there's continuous development in these new qualifications and also reviews. Private colleges, you're not the only ones using this curriculum. Private colleges are using it. Industry is using occupational qualifications. When we're in meetings, we discovered all the curriculums there, the entrepreneurial aspect is missing. So this qualification, we don't want it to be nated point 2 or version 2 to create people that want to be workers. We need you to also be in charge of your own opportunity. So now, with Ellen Gray, some of your college lecturers, student support, and your center managers in your colleges, there's going to be some reviews that we are giving to occupations. And also companies and SETAs are also coming in to ensure that we instill the entrepreneurial mindset. Next slide. So, strengthening WBL, or workplace-based experience. As I said, it's you and your lecturer attending this. So it's not only about you, it's all of you, because we need to support both of you. So note that the qualifications cannot succeed without strong workplace. So if you have a college here who only waits for other colleges to get qualifications accredited, and then they copy and paste. You get what I mean? You copy and paste. You wait for Ukulele West to go into the 800 list of QCTO qualifications. Then your college will wait for them to do everything, and then they will go and copy and paste. Here we want a college to look at its environment. Don't copy what another college is doing in another city, in another rural area, in another municipality, in a district. You must choose what suits you. So if there's a Toyota next door, it's easier for you to get an MOU at Toyota. Not you now choosing something that is like 1,000 kilometers away from you. Then it means the students and the lecturers cannot get workplace. It means all of you have failed even before starting. Because occupational qualifications cannot continue without being placed. It's a waste of time. Just remove that qualification. Okay? Next slide. So for us to expand lecturer training, we hope all the SETAs come through, because Mr. Vele showed you a long list. All those occupations, there's a SETA attached. So if it's retail buyer, W&R is attached. If it's chef, what is the chef one? CATSETA. Ne? If it's the education one, Which is it? The ECDP is what? ECD? ETDP? SETA. So please, colleagues, please look at the list of all these occupations. Know which SETA is aligned, because that's where you get support from. You cannot have this qualification without the support of the SETA. So for us to have clearer implementation pathways for colleges, we need everybody's contribution and support. Next slide. So what we want to see after this transition, we want our lecturers to be confident, more colleges to take ownership of the transition. So this thing of saying we're waiting for DHET is no longer supposed to be on our tongues. Your colleges, your executive managers, your council is responsible for your academic selections and also your growth. And clearer implementation for colleges and students to receive quality for local and internalized skills, training to be employable, and to create their own entrepreneurial opportunities. The next slide. So this is the role. To conclude this session, this is your role. It's a lot. So for you not to groan, moan, and say that our college is doing this, my lecturer is lazy, my lecturer is this, you also have a responsibility as a leader. I heard nice words, advocacy, lobby. So now please raise student awareness on occupational qualifications. You can only do that if you know the policies, you know the Gazette, why we're transitioning, and why your college has selected the occupations that you have in your campuses. And why not campus A but B, not C. And that is only by information. An advocate for increased workplace learning opportunities for students and industry participation in teaching and learning. Gather and present student feedback. Imagine we're doing this occupational qualification. Nobody tells us if we're doing nonsense, or is there impact, is there improvement of workplace opportunities or not. It means you must do surveys. Where's the academic SRC? Academic SRC? Some of the things that I've put here is your role. Please develop surveys, ask students, how do you feel? Has it impacted you? Is it different from NCV? You coming from high school, has it changed? Do you see what's going on? Because some occupations are a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Imagine a student comes in from January or June to another June and leave without knowing what is going on. So you have the role to understand. And then also promote digital readiness for access of learning tools. Don't be a boring student that wants to carry a textbook. You must also want to use YouTube channels, be resourceful, use things that are used overseas, things that are used in companies in your learning as well. And host career expos. Call these companies and ask these companies what do they want before you go to them. Ask for employer interaction. Let them come and present in your class. If your lecturer doesn't know anything about an engine, there's a Toyota 50 k's away. That mechanic can come in there and look at that motor and be the one to explain to you why we're moving to EV, why we're using hydrogen, why we're no longer using this but electrical cars. So make sure that companies also come into your class. And also entrepreneurship. If there's a big businessman in your area who's got a big retail company and franchises, let that franchisor come in and tell you, how did I start? If you want to be a retail buyer, this is what you do. This is the money, this is the business plan, or who am I using? Occupational qualifications allow you to do that.
The next one. So student support, you play a big role now. It's no longer everybody is doing the same occupational qualifications. You will find there's a student who's coming from Western Cape going to a Limpopo college because in Western Cape it's not offered. So it means you must know the reasons why that student who is in the Cape Flats is now moving to Makare. And then ensuring that that person gets access and support because they far from home. And also support student career pathways. Occupations sometimes can be a barrier because you think only chef is the other opportunity. But under chef, there's other roles you can do with this qualification. And then also understanding policy. Let's remove ignorance. Saying things are not working, but you don't even understand where it stems from. So you must know the acts, the gazettes, you must know international vocational policies, what is UNESCO doing, where we're going as a world, as a country, and if South Africa is not doing its job, you wake us up. Okay? And also encourage students to take responsibility for learning and workplace. If a course is 1 year, you don't have time to waste. So this thing of not coming to college where NSFAS clocks in, then you disappear. This time you cannot waste time. If you don't write in an assessment, forget you will have an opportunity to get your trade test. Forget that you will be placed. It means you have wasted a year, you have wasted the 4 years, and then nobody's going to prepare you for a trade test. So every time counts, every submission counts, every workplace counts. So if there's a 1 hour missing in your logbook, if there's a 3-day missing in your logbook, just know you have not fulfilled the requirements to acquire your qualification. So attendance, participation is very important. And reduce disruptions that delay practical and workplace training. It's not nated. You need to have practical, which is inside the campus, and you also need workplace. And then why does all this matter? The qualifications rely on workplace. Without workplace, we're not complete. It will not count. Okay? So these are my conclusions, colleagues. So I'm expecting you and your lecturers, wherever they are, to participate. There's a lot of change that is coming. You've just seen a glimpse, but the change is hectic. It's going to be confusing. And what I must tell you, if you're doing NATED now, carry on do your NATED. Don't think because now we're introducing a new curriculum, what you're currently studying is not relevant. It is relevant. Complete your study, get your experience, and get your diploma. But what I can caution is, please, don't just rely only on your qualification. You still need soft skills. We've got Cisco's, we've got your Huawei's, and all of these things are free of charge. You can't tell me you don't know what is AI. You can't tell me you don't know what is coding. You can't tell me you don't know what is cybersecurity. These things are free of charge. If you knew how much it costs, you would drop dead. We were given $20,000 to train your lecturers. And it was very disappointing that few of them, out of the 100, only 40 completed. And then take that $20,000 and use it as rands. How much is that? Somebody do it quickly. It's 16 rand, 90 something today, the dollar. So they wasted 100 and something thousand of rands, and they did not complete. I'm saying this in your faces because I want you to take the responsibility of what is happening in your colleges. Everybody must push their weight, pull up their socks, because time is not in our side. We are supposed to be in occupational 10 years ago, but we are still starting. So it means that everybody is on speed lane. So thank you so much. I know it was the first presentation, it's very hectic, but thank you so much for the opportunity. I will wait for questions.
Naughty corner, you know what to do. I'll wait for status and President to grab. Naughty corner, you know what to do. Thank you, Ms. Kumar. The naughty corner will still address it. I'll close with it. I've started with them, I'll close with them. I can't pay late, Nana. Thank you so much, Ms. Kumar, for that well-delivered presentation. Let's also, colleagues, acknowledge the presence of the COO of WNRC, Mr. Shawa. Please just stand up so that they acknowledge you. Yes. Let's also acknowledge someone who was the COO as well, and she ran away from the position. It's also acknowledge the presence of, and I would say, she's a senior manager now. She's very complicated at higher health, they call it, but she's an executive at higher health. The presence of Ms. Tuse, please stand up, ma'am. If there's anyone here who says they don't know you, you have it. And you have it. So we are now colleagues going. Yeah. Please just send your presentations. We're going to get a presentation from Mr. Gaza. Then we take questions, and after that, are we fine?
Yes, sure.
So let us bring the written email address. TK is saying I must not make any comment about the email. Okay. Colleagues, please allow me to welcome Mr. Gaza, who's the director responsible for governance in the TVET branch. Let's give Mr. Gaza a good round of applause. If your eyes are not bad, you can use that screen and just leave the laptop.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, leadership. My name is Emmanuel Gaza. I'm a director, the head responsible for TVET College's management support and governance. So my directorate is responsible for two very important functions in the TVET sector. One is governance, and that is the appointment of council in the 50 colleges and the training of TVET college council members. And at the same time, my director is also responsible for the strategic planning in TVET colleges. So my presentation today will be to reflect how would the governance and the student council particularly affect the transition that we're going towards occupational program. But I'm just going to look at some of the background history before that. So I think before me today, I see the future of the country. I see leadership in a serious way. So before me, I see young people, not only leadership in South Africa, but I see also the potential of leadership throughout the continent. So what we're going to see in the next 5 years in the TVET sector would not only affect South Africa, it would affect the whole continent if we successfully navigate towards this program, because this program is not just about qualification. This program is about building skills for the future. This program is about building the nation which will become independent economically from all forces, both external and internal. So what we're facing here, colleagues, is a serious shift in the identity of the TVET sector. So the TVET sector is not anymore going to be driven by qualification that's based only on exam. The new landscape will be the landscape that will be shaped by competence-based training. So that is totally a change of game. The game is totally changing, so we need to recognize that one. If I see the next slide, thank you. So what I want to see with you today is I want you to also reflect with me while I'm doing this exercise. So I want you all, I'm inviting you to reflect on this very important exercise today. So I'm just going to see what is the mandate here. As I say, I'm looking at this from a governance perspective, although there is a lot of issues in terms of the nature of where we're going, but my approach will be what is the governance side of this transition. I will see the historical context. Where are we coming from here? And then the paradigm shift, because this is a paradigm shift. And what are the demands of this transition, both for the college and for you as students and as leadership in the student section. The student council members' role, exercising your power. Because when I say at the beginning, I see here leadership, I mean that's very seriously. Seriously in a sense that a council governance is composed of 16 council members. Out of these 16 council members, 2 council members are what we call the student council members. They are elected by SRC. So these 2 student council members have a strategic role in shifting this sector to what we want it to be. So, but one has to recognize the power, the authority that students have. Because if we do not recognize that authority, we're not going to exercise it. And you, as the core stakeholder, have the most benefit to do this change. No one else can be very intimate. No one else's fate is determined by this law. So I think that recognition of identity is critical in this transformation process. What are some of the critical challenges here? like 1 or 2 points, exploring the solutions and then the conclusion. So if we go to the next slide. So I just wanted to think about this from this point. From representation to governance, student council members as agents of TVET transformation. So over the last, many decades, students have been at the center of the struggle for the end of apartheid and the struggle against oppression, against colonial rule in South Africa. So this long history of struggle was the history that was trying to opt for representation. But the stage has been changing. Over the last few years, we have moved from representation. And then we are entering a space where students now have to take the seat of governance. So we need to recognize that one. That's very, very important. So, but recognizing that means recognizing how do we change the system if we are going to be the agents of change. That is very, very huge demand, colleagues. Agents of change means we're not going to wait. We're not going to wait for anyone. We are going to be part and parcel of changing the sector itself. So that is a critical point. If we go to the next slide, thank you. So in terms of, I think I have the page here, I'm just going. What is some of the mandates? What are the national question as a nation faces? Now we have the strategic priorities, building an inclusive economy and creating jobs is a top agenda. This agenda has been there for the last few decades. It's not a new one. This has been going on. Reducing poverty and inequality and building an ethical, capable developmental state. So the core message here then is TVET colleges are not peripheral. They are central to achieving this one. So the TVET sector is placed at a critical note in the whole economic transformation in this country, because the TVET sector is the sector that is going to ensure we have the skills that is going to transform South Africa into an industrialized country. So in that sense, you can see that the TVET sector is not peripheral. The TVET sector is central in this transformation process. And knowing this one, I think will link to what I was saying earlier, that if we recognize this one, then we can recognize ourselves as agents of change in this transformation. So if we go to the next slide. Now, broadly speaking, governance. I think some of you here are members, I know members of the TVET College Council members. But I'm going to stress here a lot. I want you to reflect on your experience as student council members. When you are in the TVET College Council, you're not SRCA, you are full council members with all the authority in policy making and oversight. I think that's very important. I've seen few students sometimes not sure their role in the council. They feel marginal in the council. I want you to shift this mind now. It's very, very important that once you're appointed as council members, you're not SRC, you're not observers there, waiting with someone. You are full council members with all the authority to participate in transforming college by participating in developing policies and ensuring those policies are implemented, ensuring you have the monitoring, the checking there. That's very critical. So, in terms of council membership, your role then is strategic direction and policy compliance. So it's much more powerful. In fact, I may say it's much more powerful than any other structures in the college to be council member. Because there, you're not demanding, you're part of developing policy. So it's a strategic position. You also will ensure, by being part of that one, make the college accountable. Here, you're not demanding. Here, you are in the authority to exercise accountability from the college. Here, again, is the place where you can influence the culture of governance in the college, and ethical leadership and integrity. Here you have the possibility of linking with all stakeholders. Here you have the possibility of monitoring the implementation. Here you have the possibility also in conflict resolution. Colleagues, I just want to give this broad definition of what governance may mean. There's a different definitions of governance, but for now, I want to invite you to think of this one. Governance as building systems. Governance as building structures and policies. So you can see already that it is a powerful position to be in. Yeah? If we go to the next slide, I just want to go now to the historical context. Now, where are we today in the TVET sector? Why is this call for occupational qualification transition very important? And I want to take you back to almost 100 years back, in 1922. 1922, as you know, all of you, the end of the 19th century was the century that actually shaped South Africa for what it is. Because this was the period was the most important minerals were discovered in South Africa. So this was the period the whole world was coming to exercise control over South Africa, because South Africa has some of the most important mining resources in the world. So by the end of 19th century, the beginning of 20th century, we have seen in South Africa a transformation of the economy towards industrialization. In this battle for industrialization was the battle for skills, was at the center of that battle. A large number of whites who were coming towards the mining centers were not skilled at this period. Actually, the black working class was much more skilled, the African working class was much more skilled early in the 20th century. So, one of the settler colonial projects in this skills formation was, how do we segregate, how do we ensure that the skills and the power resides with the minority white workers? One of the most important tools that was used here was the 1922 Apprenticeship Act. This act was very, very important act. Actually, South Africa has one of the most earliest acts in the world. And what this act did was, while African workers were doing the same job, through this system, the settler colonial project ensured that only white workers will have the chance to do apprenticeship program. And therefore, only white workers were able to do artisanship there. Now, this was very, very important history, colleagues. And why is this important? Because it defines the history of the present of South Africa. Because those people who came to here, these doors were closed for the majority of black workers for over 50, 60, 70 years. It was only in 1980 that this was starting to be deracialized. Now, the apprenticeship program and extension of that one was the Report 191. What we call now Report 191 was a development of this one. Even Report 191, if you see closely to the history of that one, Report 191 was actually an occupational program originally, the way it was conceived. Because students were doing Report 191, were based in industry. They were coming to the TVET College for a block learning. So actually it was a European continental model. But that door was closed for the majority of the population. So what's the significance of this one? Now the significance of this one is, this exclusion meant what? What's the legacy of this one? The legacy of this means the system built generational wealth for minority and skills poverty for the majority. Because those people who were trained at apprentice and the Tibet College in the next few decades were the ones who acquired the skills, who eventually were running ESCOM, all the bigger industries. Their children became university students, their grandchildren are now doctors, accountants. Can you see the chain here? The chain where it started here and the chain where it became intergenerational wealth, right? So by trying to define a transition now towards occupational program, what we are trying to do, as I said, is we're trying also to be part of that transformation of the economy, at the same time also creating a new generation that will have a new wealth generations to come. So I just want to pinpoint the historical importance, where we're coming, why occupational program going forward is going to be critical. If we go to the next slide. Now, as I said, I've been explaining this one. The Tibet College is the epicenter of socio-economic transformation. It's the bridge between an unjust past and an inclusive future. It will become the engine of production, producing skilled and competent workforce for national development. It will be the catalyst for individual empowerment, because people who are going to be going through a system of occupational program are competent, and therefore they are participating in the economy fully. So you can see the critical importance of this one. Go to the next slide. So what we see here is a great shift. And that's why we call this a paradigm shift. This is a total shift. The old identity, NCD and Report 191, broader, it was less industry specific. We enter in a new identity here. This identity is a competency-driven occupational program. Unfortunately, I didn't bring the sub-framework. This sub-framework goes up to PhD eventually. That's what's going to happen. With this occupational program, we're not going to stay at level 5, 6. It will go to BSE, it will go to masters, it will go also to doctorate in occupational life. So it's not something that we have to think about it as an artisan, but it is something that will be articulated to higher level skills. And by doing that, you can see colleagues here, that this will be a game changer in many ways. What will change here will be from learning subjects, students will be the masters of an occupation. They will master an occupation. That's the whole thing, right? The design it's co-created by industry. My colleague, Ms. Luzi, who is explaining the importance of industry here, why training is also of lecturers, very critical here. And the outcome will be, workplace competence, colleagues, leading directly to employment. So this we can call is a qualitative transformation. If we go to the next slide, what is the demand for a college from here? Partnership is not going to become negotiable. Partnership is going to become strategic. The implication of this one is, it means like we have DP academic, we have DP corporate, we have DP registrar. We have to start imagine a DP responsible for partnership only, right? Because if we're going to move to the occupational direction, if this program is going to depend on the success of linking it with industry, partnership has to be. So as student leaders here, you need to recognize this one. This will become your dashboard. In the council, this is what you're going to fight for a target that a college will have partnership at the center of its formation, because this is where students are going to be placed, right? So that partnership is central here. Revitalize infrastructure and equipment. This will be central. Again, as student leaders in the council, this will be in your dashboard. This will be one of the targets that you're going to look quarterly. You're going to look at this, what's happening here.
The upskilling of lecturers, my colleague Ms. Nozipo was speaking in length about ensuring equality in work-based learning. From a student, and my colleague again, Ms. Nozipo was speaking about it, embracing this new identity. You know, this is an identity. This will take us a long time to get to, because to become an occupational person demands its own identity. I think my colleague, Ms. Nozipo, was citing one or two examples. She was saying there is a particular personality, characteristic to be an occupational lawyer. She gave an example, for instance, the discipline that would require here would be really high discipline, because we enter in a work of industry. So it's not like a school here. It's not like a college. I'm not saying colleges were like schools, but here the demands are huge. So we need to embrace that identity. Actively seeking excelling in work placement. This will become very important. Advocate for program quality and relevance. And then provide constructive feedback. So some of the change that's required here. If we go to the next slide. So I spoke about this one. As student council, I'm moving now towards governance. As student council, your role have to now be much more prominent here, right? Because you have the role of setting strategy here as student council members. You have the role of setting budgets and monitoring the implementation of the budget. So some student councillors have not yet realized this very much. I've seen this in few colleges. They haven't yet totally embraced this one. So councillors, being a council member is like being in a university of governance, actually. I would have been, if I was a student, I would have been lucky to be a council member, because to be a council member is like you've been trained in a university of how to govern an institution, which is almost a microcosm, an example of a whole country. So what happens in the governance is what happens in the whole country. You set strategy, you set policies there, you monitor them, you set the budget of the whole college, which is most colleges have more than 400 million per year. So to be here is to be a leader. To be here is to be more than to be in a university. So you need to embrace this one if we're going to make that dramatic change. So, so this is some of the key points, colleagues, I want to highlight. If we go to the next slide. So your seat here, you are full council members, I have said here. And I think this is very important. I want to re-emphasize this one. As council members, you're not SRC here. You are full council members, student council members, right? So, and that change, that has an element of a change of identity also. Because some students are confused. When they go to the council, they still think they are SRC. No, of course they are SRC in a different role. But here, they are full council members. So your power here is you bring to the council the reality of students. So you will here bring the whole council to see the whole world of the TVET sector from a student's perspective. Not about individual students, that someone is not getting NSFAS. No, that's not your role here. Your role here is at higher level, developing the policies that shape even NSFAS itself, not one student's getting. So huge responsibility here. So I've spoken about, the tasks that you have here. I will share this, I think, with everybody so you can see that in detail. So if we go to the next slide, exercising your power here is you as council members in the TVET College Council will start to ask the question, what is our progress on industry partnership for work? You need to ask this every quarter when you have a meeting. You need to have a dashboard to say this. What is the target? Where are we going? So you need to do it. In terms of resources, you need also to interrogate the budget. Is the budget supporting this transition? Is the budget supporting the training of lecturers here? You need to ask the question, what support students are getting in the system for work integrated learning? So here, move from reactive protest, because you are in the center of power, you become a proactive and strategic influence. Now, this is big, right? Because you're not reacting, you're not protesting. You are in the seat of leadership. Therefore, your role is here proactive. If we go to the next slide. Now, the critical challenge, let me share with this one. I don't have an answer to this one. I think you're better positioned here, SATVETSA leadership here at the national level to see that. What I see myself as a problem in students at the moment is the tenure is so short, right? 1 year. In 1 year, we see a change of leadership. So every year we have new SRC members. This cannot guarantee a continuity of change, right? Now, a 1 year term is too short for that, right? So the risk here is, and this is a very important risk, student impact in council is reset every year, losing momentum, right? Of complex issues like the occupational shift. Question for the House here is, how do we secure lasting student policy impact here? And this is a question that's loud for all of us. How do we secure that? Is there a possibility that we can have in the council a student who is going to stay 3 years in the college? So the same students would be there for 3 years. Those two students who will be in the council will have the memory and the possibility of making a qualitative change into the whole system. Now, this is a big question. This is maybe a policy question, but I'm just posing that question. If we go to the next slide. My invitation here is asking for a discussion, a council representative from annual SRC cycle. Could reps be appointed for 2 to 3 years? Well, this is a national question that SATVETSA has to face. This is our shared, I think, problem to solve. So it's a loud question. But I'm serious on this one, because I have seen in many councils, students coming to council always looking like they are guests in the council. They sit on the margin, always becoming a guest. That is not tenable. That's not sustainable. You are the most important stakeholders. You know the reality on the ground. So the idea that you'll be there only for a few months, in fact, it's not 1 year. In between, there is a campaign period for electing. So it's less than 1 year, actually. So I think this House today had to think about this seriously if we're going to make this transformation possible. If we go to the next slide, I think that is more or less the call for action. Finally, I just want to say that, colleagues, you're not just a link here, you're a strategic leader. You hold a seat at the table where the future of TVET is shaped. Use it. Steer your college with courage, wisdom, and unwavering focus on transforming through occupational excellence. So that is the end of my presentation, I think. Thank you so much. I think that's the end.
Enormous. Thank you, Mr. Gaza. Mr. Gaza is calling for action in a room full of activists. I see even the old one, no Zangeta, they want to wear all stars now, Mr. Gaza. They forget that they are now managers. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaza, for that insightful presentation. Colleagues, I want us to take one round and go for tea. One round of questions for both presentations. That side, do we have Yes. Poland, ne? West Coast. West Coast, West Coast. West Coast. Waterberg. Majuba. Maluti. I can't see with the light. What college is that? CJC. EEC. Tell the president to ask. One person. Just give your what college is that? Huh? Lovedale, and the one and the bone. Huh? We Buffalo City, okay. So Etlanzini will start, Lovedale will be number 2. Wenango, eh? Okay, Maluti. BCC, EMC, what? TNC. All of your hands will look well done. And no, Mteo, you just arrived now. I'm saying, don't want me to start this conversation. Don't want me to start that conversation. Don't want me to get into that conversation, including New Southwest Gauteng. Now, can we please give the colleague from West Coast the mic? Who's assisting with the mics, colleagues? Yeah, please. TK, is that mic on? But
Good morning to everyone. My name is Ivan Swart. I'm the Public Relations Officer at West Coast TVET College. My question is to Mrs. Kumalo. She made mention of the fact that we will be seeing some students go from one province, let's say the Eastern Cape, to the Limpopo province because the program is not offered at the Eastern Cape colleges, but maybe in a Limpopo college. My question is this, in that regard, from a marketing and communications perspective, we have been told that the QCTO programs that the college is selecting or has selected, because we heard it's not a shopping list, so let's keep it at that, but that the college is going to have, as part of its qualification mix, is supposed to feed that specific college's economic area. That is what we have been told. My colleagues in the crowd can say if I am mistaken, but we have also in our college gone out to say 60 to 70% of our recruitment must be local because the programs are dedicated for the local community. And it's supposed, those students are supposed to go from that specific college then into that economic area. How are we then hearing that this is going to take, are we foreseeing then that students are going to move to Limpopo and then support their economic transformation and their economic journey there? Because we are supposed to look local because the programs are aimed for the local economic community. That's just my question. Some clarity on that I would appreciate.
okay. Whose hand was up here before Majuba? Oh yeah. It was Waterberg then Majuba. Let's go straight to the questions now. We're bad in terms of time.
Good morning to everyone in the house. By the way, I want to be short like miniskirt. My questions are going straight to Ms. Kumalo. What are the strategies are in place to ensure that lecturers
Just
Because-
wait, just wait. Do we have a problem that side? Is there a problem? I mean, if there's a problem, tell us now so that we resolve it then, to make noise when the speaker is on a platform. Okay, please continue, okay.
Thanks very much for the protection, leadership. What strategies are in place to ensure that lecturers are responsive? Because we understand that there are 40 lecturers who have completed that training that we were given 20,000 billion and 60 did not attend. So literally we lost 100 and something thousand. But what strategies were implemented to ensure that the lecturers are responsive? And then number two, how do you address the challenges of upskilling and reskilling lecturers to meet the demands of occupational studies as an incoming lecturer in occupational studies? And what support system are in place for staff development? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's follow the same example, straight to the questions, Machu. Where's Brian? Oh, now, you have a mic, Sonto. Here. Yeah. The first point is your name, quickly.
My name is Dr. SATVETSA, the Secretary General of Mathematics College. And before I make my point, I was asked by the student to come and say you must get thanks for SATVETSA for organizing this program. Can you please get thanks for SATVETSA? My question is, since the department is focusing on training current lecturers, what plans are in place for unemployed qualified TVET lecturers who are still waiting for opportunities? Number two, will the introduction of occupational programs negatively affect applicants who hold an HR background or other qualifications that are already relevant to the TVET program? Number three, will there be a national database or transparent process where unemployment lecturers can register to be considered for the opportunities? Lastly, how will the department support individuals who have relevant qualifications but limited teaching experience, especially those who have completed teaching qualifications like the advanced diplomas? Thank you, as I led.
Okay, thank you. Here, it was Debo, yeah? First point is your name.
My name is Tevo Rapari from Maludi. Mine is to Mr. Gaza. Mr. Gaza, since you have seen the loophole that this SRC, when they go to council, they just go and sit down, why can't maybe early in January after the election, you team up with SATVETSA and the DHT Student Support Services to make sure that these SRCs, when they go to council, they know what to say, because it takes them 3 to 4 council meetings when they recover. The last meeting in December is when they see that they have to participate and big decisions have taken place. The second one is this one. Structures like TVET CGC, why can't they maybe take one SATVETSA member be there in the NEC of TVET CGC, so that when these decisions of TVET CGC that they're taking, and speaking about the council members, so that they can voice out of the frustration of SRCs into the TVET CGC structure. Those are the 2 things for me. Thank you.
CJC there. CJC.
Good morning to the House at Lunch. My name is Homoluma Mungatani, the SRC president from Central Johannesburg TVET College. And the first question will go to Ms. Kumalo. I would like to know, Ms. Kumalo, why is the head supporting lecturers to go to training for occupational programs that the institution is not even ready to offer? Why? And then the second one is to Mr. Gaza. Is it possible for SRC members to have one uniform policy? Because we find that EWC has its elections at May, but we had ours in March. So I think if we can have one policy as a nation, that would be best for us. Thank you.
Okay, with that side. Kwelo cala lakho, Brian.
Good morning, everyone. Standing here, it's Mapori Petulo from Ehlanzeni TVET College. I only have two questions, and the question, my questions is that, does the plan of action have been developed in the department in terms of implementation of the lecture development? Because it will cause another frustration as for students coming in the introduction of these transitions for the occupational program. So yet, even our lecturers, they are not even aware or developed enough in terms of capacitating the student in our classrooms or in our respective campuses. As well as the second question is that, in terms of an infrastructure delivery and the workshops, in the collaboration with the QCTO as well as the CITAs involved, does the MOUs also being signed in particular to colleges wherein we are not yet ready, because sooner or later we need to be full capacitated with the infrastructure. So when these courses are being introduced or these programs are being introduced, we are well prepared and familiarized ourselves with those missionaries in the workshops. Thank you.
Okay. Yima Brian. Yeah. Let's give President Wase EEC. I forgot because of these lights.
Thank you very much. My name is Akashia Sinuku, the president of Ekurhuleni East TVET College. Firstly, my first question for Mr. Gaza was covered, or my comment. I would say the SRCs needs training before they enter into the office, or after they are being elected. They need training on how to conduct themselves in the council. They need to know what is council, what is expected of them in the council. Another question or comment to Ms. Kumalo. Thank you so much for the insightful presentation, and also it is encouraging to see that we see the need of our lecturers to be developed, as they play a crucial role in improving the students' completion rate. And now, with regards to that, I'm not sure whether the lecturers, before they get into campuses, they start or begin teaching, they get this practical component as well, to say, are you ready to go into the classrooms and teach students? I'm not sure whether they get that training. If they don't, it is a suggestion that also lecturers, before they start working or before they start teaching, they also get that comprehensive training to say, you need to have this training, know how to teach students. Don't read through the textbook as it is, but this is how you need to learn or render the lesson. The last question from my deputy president is that, noting from what you said, that MOUs should be in place when choosing a program with industry partners. Now let's say a college has 15 programs. Does that mean now the college should submit 15 MOUs as well with different industry partners? I hope those questions are clear. Thank you.
Okay. Let's not clap. Let's go to the next one. It was Lovedale, ne?
Good morning. My name.
Yeah. Sondes.
Sorry. Good morning to everyone in the room at large. My name is Andadiko from Lovedale TVET College. My question is very plain and simple. It's only one question. Since the occupational programs operate effectively due to good workplaces and workshops, when is the government planning to implement readiness for occupational programs to commence? Yes, I know it is a good thing that lecturers are taken to training, but what about the area that they are going to implement their skills to? I would just want to know that when is the day that the government will improve workshops and provide us with all the necessary needs in order for occupational programs to be a success? Thank you.
Yeah. EMC? It's, what was, yeah, that gentleman.
Thank you very much, Program Director. My name is Thabo Lakaje. I am from Maluti TVET College, and I'm the academic officer. My question is that, Mekumalo, is there any monitoring mechanism to evaluate the productivity and competency of lecturers following the training program? And then my last question is that, with the transition from NATED to occupational program, and the reality of TVET colleges being understaffed and lacking of administrative capacity, where they are often hired for immediate needs, ignoring policy standards, and face low morale, how are colleges planning on mitigating and addressing quality over availability? Thank you very much.
Okay. EMC, Anna, President of Orbit, stop clapping.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bobele Nzanza, the SRC president from East Cape Mid-Level College. No, I have one question. I'm going to ask Mr. Gaza. Since you came with this idea, probably the suggestion of 2-year or 3-year of a SRC tenure, I want to know, probably our occupational programs or skills, there won't be criteria of electing the SRC. I think the problem when it comes to the occupational, we're told that 70% were going to be out, then 30% were going to be in. How are we going to mitigate that? How are we going to sit in the council and influence the policies, the decisions of council? So thank you.
Yeah. What was the other hand there? Yeah?
Yeah. Greetings to the house at large. My name is Mukwena Gabetwe. I'm the academic officer of TNC. My question is directed to Ms. Kumalo. At the beginning of your presentation, you have mentioned that you do not choose occupational programs for colleges, but rather approve. So I want to touch base on a persisting issue of lecturers' attendance in classes. What measures are in place to assess institutional readiness prior to approval? Specifically, how do you evaluate whether a college has the necessary capacity to deliver the program effectively, including the availability and consistent attendance of upskilled lecturers? Because we have observed a recurring challenge where lecturers cite capacity building workshops as a reason for absenteeism, which disrupts teaching and compromise student learning. How do you ensure that such workshops do not inadvertently hinder program delivery and colleges are fully prepared logistically, academically, and operationally before a program is approved for implementation? Thank you.
Yeah, that was the last question from that side. Okay. Mam Kumalo and Mr. Gaza, we have now up until 10 past to answer all of them, and we break for coffee. Brian, please bring the mic here.
Okay, thank you for the questions. But some of the questions I feel Mr. Vele could have addressed, or day one, and I was hoping you listened effectively as well, especially on the point of the selection of the occupational qualifications, that it's not DHET that selects, but the college itself through research, impact, the surrounding communities, and also the industry. So that, I believe, it's answered. And then the issue of MOU. The MOU, as I explained in the presentation, you cannot introduce an occupation if there's no industry involvement or a SETA, a mandated SETA support. So that goes hand in hand. The colleague or the lady that shared that if a college has 15 occupations, they should have MOUs. Even before you've been approved, you submit a pitch. Let's just call it a pitch, for example. You submit how you will do it, who are those lecturers, how qualified they are, how does your infrastructure look like, and all the companies that will support, and what do you need, so we can calculate the cost of the occupation. Remember how we pay your lecturers, the building, maintenance, and all of that goes to costing as well. So if your college is offering something, it means when they were going for approval with DHET and QCTO, because QCTO does the final accreditation, it means they passed that accreditation. It means the file, the presentation they had, they passed of what they presented. But we know how things happen. Sometimes things are good on paper, but in reality, it's not. So it means if that's happening, then it will be our job, Mr. Kasa, and the rest of the team through the DDG, through monitoring of this transition, if it's really what it is. Because QCTO, remember, it's not us, there's an accreditor. And then it comes to us, and it goes to finance, and it goes to treasury to say that poultry farmer is 150,000. Then it goes through all these places, and some who have rejected a lot of colleges. You'll find your college has not introduced the occupation because it's been rejected. It's being rejected because of the capacity of staff or the infrastructure is not there. Some of your colleges were doing NATED. It means you don't have infrastructure. Because NATED, by its design, it was theory-based. Only the colleges that had NCV, they can be able to present, because in NCV there's workshops, there's simulations, there's labs. So it was easier for them to just add onto the walls. But then some of your colleges have to construct the building from scratch, which takes years. It means your college can be delayed because you still have to build, which means that your college lecturers are being trained while waiting for that infrastructure to be ready. Do you get what I mean? So when you submit your file, you can submit the file that is comprehensive to say that your lectures are ready, the infrastructure is there, tools, assets, and all of those things, and the MOUs are there. So some colleges are preparing now for the future. And then the lecturers that you're saying are truant. They're not actually truant. When you're in training, you're also present at work. As I said, as students, we capacitate you, we also capacitate the staff. So in their job descriptions and roles, capacity is included, because we don't want ill-informed people to address you in the classroom. So that's why I said in the presentation, please be patient because of the change. But that doesn't leave the responsibility away from your campus manager, the HOD, and the senior lecturer, to ensure that when that lecturer leaves, they've left you with work and an assignment, or another lecturer who's not attending, that either you put in a big hall and one lecturer addresses you, or you use online learning, or you do research, you catch up on classwork. Because as a student, you're not a learner. There's a difference between a learner and a student. You're an adult, a young adult. You don't need supervision 100% of the time, but it must be directed teaching and learning. So those lecturers that leave you without anything, it's wrong. So the lecturer and the senior must ensure that you're left with something, either an assignment for the week, you're preparing for a test, or there's an online class that has been put there, because that's why you've got Moodles and all of these blackboards. It's not for show, okay? And then there's an issue about lectures' responsiveness. We are training them. Remember I said about the history of the lecturers that we have? Some of them have been in the system for years. When curriculum change, they need to also change. And this change didn't start now. I heard some of the students were saying, occupational is coming. It's been here. That's why centers of specialization. You know what's happening in the centers of specialization? Is what we are currently doing, all of us. So when the college has a centers of specialization, we have started. And this, it was called DSPP. There's a lot of things. Remember when the previous minister said, I don't want NATED anymore? Remember? Remember? And then it came back. Those years when your campus managers, your principals were going to Switzerland, they were going around the world, they were all getting educated on the dual system curriculum. So we started in the early 20,000s to prepare for this change. So it didn't just come, but it was delayed by ourselves in the colleges. People didn't want to change, okay? And then the issue of the monitoring evaluation, I think Mr. Gaza in the strategic plan, I think that point of having a monitoring evaluation to monitor or measure impact is necessary now because it's this curriculum we've added as a program so that monitoring can come there. The HR issues for the last, we are in the TVET branch, so other issues are addressed by the corporate branch. The things of hiring and firing, we are not responsible for that. Lecturer development supports the lecturer, the employee, to do the work. But how they are hired and how they're going to be fired, it's addressed by HR, which is a different DDG than Mr. Zungu. So all that, I believe, in your council meetings and also with TVET CGC, we have those discussions about how lecturers are hired, the future workforce, and the ones that are retiring, what is the replacement strategy? I believe the DG responsible will be able to address that. Thank you. I believe I have answered.
Thank you. Mr. Gaza, your 5 minutes. The mic, Mr. Gaza.
Thanks. I think the questions were mainly comments. I think I appreciate the comment that was provided. I think it was from Maluti, to think how do we strategically think of tackling this issue about student leadership being for a short period of time. And I think you were suggesting there that SATVETSA program director maybe can take this forward and then create a national platform of how SATVETSA at the national and regional level can work with individual college SRC in order to coordinate similar strategic policy issues together. Because SATVETSA, I understand, would be there for how many years?
Yeah, so they are there.
I know. How long is the tenure? Terms of
it's 3 years.
3 years. So in that case, it makes sense, at least in the short term, SATVETSA to take that strategic coordination of policies with college. I think that is, and then I think there was a related comment again, if SRC would have early training in January. So Program Director, I want to welcome that idea. So we will be prepared to do that in January every year, to organize the 2-day one-day workshop to orientate new SRCs to do that work. So I want to forward that. I think those were the issue, and someone was asking a question, how would this new occupational transition affect the SRC membership and the 2-year membership? He was saying, because if we are in the occupational field, then students will be going out for work experience, 70% and 30%. But in fact, it is very important. Those very students who go in 70% to work would be at the center of that policy formation, that leadership role, because they would come up with the experience of the company and bring back to the SRC. So usually college councils have quarterly, as you know, quarterly meetings. So every year there will be at least 4 quarterly council meetings. So when students are in those planning period, they can be, articulate about when do they want the meeting to happen. Because I know some meetings are held during exam period, and unfortunately some students do not attend the council meeting. So when you are in the planning period, you need to ensure when you want those quarterly meetings to happen so that they wouldn't clash with the whole thing. I think my colleague, Ms. Nozipo, was talking about the monitoring evaluation. I think there was a lot of questions in the questions about readiness, program director. Absolutely very, very important. I don't think so we all have absolute solution here, how this transition will unfold. We need to, all of us, work together to make it happen. Is there any 100% preparation, 100% readiness? I don't think so. So we need to admit that, and we need then to build, the idea that we all have to work together to make this happen. I say a lot of people were asking questions about evaluation and monitoring. Now, this is what I have been presenting here. The student council members have now the authority to evaluate and monitor in the council. So they need, in their quarterly meeting, they need to have that agenda every quarter, monitoring what is happening there. Here, you're not asking. Here, you have the authority to exercise the actual monitoring evaluation. That's what I can say for now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I think other questions, Mr. Gaza, it's something that we can be able to respond to. Question around the policy alignment. Look, we developed the student leadership guidelines. It was intended to do exactly that, which is to align college policies, but we can only go, there was a question, but it was not answered. I want to, because of time, colleagues are not leaving yet. We are going to ask that they respond to your question and yours when Debo. Now, we developed the guidelines so that we aligned institutional policies. Unfortunately, still that belongs to council, so students still have the authority to say what they want their own policies to look like, because they are members of council, they participate fully there. But I also agree, Mr. Gaza, so each and every January we do a strategic planning of SATVETSA. I think I would invite you next year so that we align the programs, that after elections, we then start a process of when SRCs are done, which is around April, May, are done with their elections, most SRCs, we then try and see where do we fit just this component of governance. I know that there are current engagements between SATVETSA leadership at national level with TVET CGC in terms of signing some MOUs, some sort of working relations amongst themselves. Maybe one of the issues when, I think even at the SG, Mr. Zondi alluded to something similar, that at some point we must move to a point where we have one structure of governance. Maybe we must be able to say, look, even if you include them as ex officios, but they need to have some participation there. I think it's part of the issues that we can be able to deal with. Colleagues, I want us to take a break, just a 10-minute break, tea break, body break. Afterwards, we'll have a presentation by WNRC, Mr. Shop. So if we leave now by 20 past, we must all be seated. But what we are going to do, we're going to ask the colleagues, and also let's welcome Mr. Marshall, the regional manager of Gauteng and Free State. Plus then, Mr. Marshall, so that they acknowledge you. So, who's there? Is that Ace? Who's there at the door? I can't see. Yeah. So you are going to lead our seniors here back to domestic, but let's allow them to move out first, then the rest will follow. And ubali zangeta xanibali seniors. Let's use this. We can start with you, Bravos. There, we go. Just for coffee, that's domestic. Yeah. You can leave your things. It's very safe. It's safe.